Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. Mail call again, and this time it is a package from China. Not so sure what's inside until I crack it open, so let's do that. Ah, I see. It's a package from Alquar. Gonna tell you guys a little bit more about what happened here, but let's just get this out of the bubble wrap first and open that metal box up. This is the Eagle Eye hand spinner. I didn't even know what they were gonna send me, honestly, but Alquar actually reached out to me and said that they wanted to send me a spinner for review, and I mentioned I only do reviews if I'm allowed to give my honest opinions on it, and they said yes, please go ahead and do it. So I said alright, send it over, and this is the Eagle Eye hand spinner. AlquarDesign.com. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Alquar? I don't know. Just a quick mention, if you guys find that I handle the knife really awkwardly in my right hand, that's because I'm actually left-handed. Here we go. Oh, that's cool. We actually have silica gel, a nice pouch. I don't know what this is. Just an empty small size Ziploc bag. I guess that's actually where the bearing was actually held in. And we have a name card. AlquarDesign.com. Please read before spin. Zippo Kerosene will be a nice choice for cleaning. What? Cleaning your spinner, I suppose. So let's put that aside. Check this little pouch out. There's a little metal thing over here that dropped out. Oh, I see. It's a spare link for the chain. Let's just open this up. Nice soft leather pouch, and oh wow, that's cool. So this is the Eagle Eye spinner. Just by looking at the color of it, seems that the frame is made of copper and the buttons are brass buttons. Very smooth spin so far. What else is in the package? Let's have a look. We got a spare bearing, and this looks to be a 688 bearing. I might be wrong because it's not a 608. I'm not so sure. And what looks to be a removal tool. Okay, cool. Looks like a little metal tag. What does it say? Eagle Eye bearing opener. Yeah, that's right. It's a tool and a keychain as well. Nice tag style keychain. Bearing opener. Let's get the spinner, and there we go. Nice smooth spin. I didn't even use a lot of strength. Very interesting. Good weight. Smooth spin. Nice concentric circles that are created by it on the reflections of the light. And it's got laser engravings on the buttons itself. Let me just turn it this way, and this is interesting. I'm actually handling the spinner while it's spinning. Nice AL logo, I suppose. Yep, Alquar Design AL logo on the flip side as well. That's very interesting. I'm gonna stop this guy and let's just twist out the buttons and see. That's cool. Looks to have a core. That's very interesting. If you guys can see, there's a brass lip right there, so it's like a whole brass insert for a core. There looks to be something of a 608 size kind of core, and then we have the bearing inside there, and I guess we use the bearing removal tool to just twist this out, and then we can remove the bearing from there. And just for fun, let's open this guy up. So we put the bearing opener tool right there. Just give it a twist, and it seems to be quite tight. There we go. Pop that right out. Seems that the bearing comes out with it as well. And you can see the brass inlay sitting inside the copper frame. Very interesting. And it looks like this bearing that comes attached with it is a hybrid ceramic bearing that has the races intact. But when we compare it with the spare bearing that they actually give, this looks like it's another kind of ceramic bearing, but it doesn't have the race in. I don't believe these are full complement bearings, but they definitely spin slightly more free. But let's look at that. Now it's hard to judge, not till I actually put this into the spinner. So let's just put this one in for fun, and let's see how this goes. Gotta slip this guy in like that, and then we're just gonna pop this guy in place and tighten it down. Then grab the tool and tighten it back, just like that. Grab the buttons and slip them back in place. That's kind of tight. You guys heard that grinding sound? Screw on the top cap. Man, that's a whole lot noisier. I don't like this sound. And it's kind of shaking. You guys can see the wobble. I think I'm gonna put that bearing back. But But anyway guys, before I carry on, as usual, let me just put this guy on my EDC for a few days and then get back to you guys and tell you what I really think about it and give you more information. Catch you then.
1 week later.
Back here again after a week of spending time with the Eagle Eye. And you guys already know I have stickers on it. If you don't know why it's looking like this right now, then you're missing out. I'm gonna put links in the video description as well as at the end of the video. Make sure you check it out. But anyway, as I said, these are just stickers, so I'm gonna remove them right now because that's not part of the review. So these are just stickers, guys. You could just totally reuse it. Now, this thing looks like it's brand new again. Speaking of looking brand new, please have a closer look. This is actually copper, but copper is supposed to patina. I've had this guy for actually more than a week and I've been fidgeting with it a lot, but there are no visible signs of patina. And that's because you realize it's like super polished, right? It's not just a polished finish, guys. If I bring it closer to the camera lens, you can actually see some detail in it. I believe that this is a kind of a coating rather than a polish, so that's why this guy isn't having any patina on it. However, I really want to mention that the sales link actually says this is in pure copper. I can't really verify that. I'm just gonna take their word for it and say that this is pure copper, but it's not getting any patina. So patina fans, I'm sorry, this might not work out for you. However, they do have another 2 variations of the Eagle Eye spinner, one in brass and another one known as the Super Eagle Eye, which features an antique look with different buttons as well. That one looks to have more details on the buttons, but let's not talk about those. Let's talk about this because we have this on hand. Now I'm gonna run through the smaller details on this spinner that I didn't pick up on my first impressions. Now this little raised portion over here actually has machining marks, and these actually feel pretty good to the touch. They're not sharp because they still have the chamfer, right? So it doesn't really hurt, but it's interesting. Kind of like a nail file, I guess. I don't know. Right, so it's evident on all raised sections. And if you spin it this way, it actually looks like 3 fireballs spinning on an axis. Buttons are made of brass, but at the same time, the buttons aren't getting any patina as well. Which is interesting because I don't really know. I remember my brass buttons really getting patina quite quickly. Now since we're on that topic, let's talk about the buttons. The buttons actually have this laser etching, I believe it's laser, of the Alquar logo. And it's got nice circular machining marks on it. That actually adds to the grip. On top of it, you actually have a outer lip that makes it very comfortable to place your finger right smack in the middle. Now let's talk about the underside of this button. You guys can see a little lip. And recently there's some talks about having lips on the underside of buttons on the Spin Space Facebook page. You guys should really check it out because a lot of good discussions are on that Facebook page. But what these lips actually do for the spinner is that it goes around the bearing, so it acts like a secondary layer of protection against dust and dirt actually getting in. Most buttons just sit on top and sit flush with the bearing, but this actually goes around it. That's actually a very cool addition. Of course, these already have the bearings encased very nicely inside, but this is added protection. So with a system like this, I really don't think it's easy to get dirt into your bearing at all unless you do some crazy stuff to it. But that's a really good touch as well that I wanted to mention. On to the fidgetability of this guy. Now, performing a preloaded flick on this edge right here is going to be uncomfortable because it'll smack the back of your finger just like that. And in worst cases, if it really hooks on to the meat of your finger and you pull it all the way back, you're gonna snag it right there. So this actually hurts, and I mean it hurts because it's curved inwards like this, so it's really just hooking onto your finger. Now, sometimes it might just slip halfway, like maybe at about just this point, but then you also feel a snag because you're hitting the exact edge of the raised portion as well. So preloaded flicks this way, definitely not comfortable at all. Preloaded flicks this way, however, are very comfortable because they're all rounded. This way just slides right off and the sharp edge just completely moves over your finger instead. So that's why in my spin videos, I always spin it this way. But if I grab it out of my pocket without looking and I just put my finger here, if I don't feel for the raised edge, then I wouldn't really know that I'm on the sharp edge. I might hurt myself instead. So that's something that you guys should take note of. Now if you're performing forward flicks on this round edge over here is fine because by the time you push it out and your finger extends out, this is gonna go away, so it wouldn't get in your way. This way, however, might be a bit uncomfortable if this edge right here rubs against your cuticles. So that will cause discomfort, but if you have it on the top of a nail, then that's fine. Just like that, that's okay. but not like when you get a finger far up here. Yeah, and then performing flicks with the index finger. Forward on the round edge is okay, but back, this might happen. So you gotta be careful with that. Notice how this side is actually curved to be shaped like a beak. So when you put your index finger down, it might slip exactly like that. So this might happen where you kind of want to put pressure, but it slips instead. And then you catch yourself doing this. So that will hurt. Because if it's unintentional, then you're gonna feel the ouch, right? But to flip it over, pushing forward on this is still okay because the edge starts right here. It's kind of like when you're chopping vegetables on a chopping board and you have your knuckles like this. That's completely fine. Even if you manage to somehow get your fingernail down here, by the time you reach the point where you're pushing upwards, not a lot of snag, to be honest. So that's still okay. Pulling backwards, up here, it's okay. But pulling backwards down here is gonna be painful. See, because you're gonna smack yourself right there. And then performing flicks with your fourth finger, with the middle finger and thumb grip. Whoa! So you saw that? This thing snagged onto my fourth finger right here and then slipped out of my hand. So that's something that you guys should take note of. Pulling back is okay, but pushing forward is actually more comfortable because of the size. You're gonna have to reach out quite far if you want to pull it back comfortably. Alternatively, you could also practice to flick it on the rings over here. Of course, if you have the super eagle eye, then no, these rings are actually filled with weights. So that'll be heavier and you won't be able to rest your finger like that. However, with weights, it could also mean that it would be an extra space for you to rest your finger on. I'm not so sure because I don't have that. We're reviewing the standard eagle eye here. Same thing to take note of when you're fidgeting with it on your middle finger. The same issues arise. Make sure you don't get your finger snagged here on this particular flake. Just be careful. Of course, we need to do a size comparison. So here we go, size comparison with a stubby. And an extra little tidbit that I want to point out is that these circles over here are smaller than a 608 bearing. So don't even think about putting bearings in there because these actually measure about 18 millimeters, that's 1.8 cm, while a 608 bearing measures 22 millimeters across. So you won't be able to fit one there. Thought I'd point that out to you guys. Finally, let's talk about my verdict on this guy. The eagle eye is designed based on the generic tri-spinner design. If you hide these extra bits that stick out, you can tell immediately that they look just like any other tri-spinner design. And so that actually sits in between being a fidget spinner and a long spinner. These are actually going for $30, and for $30, I think that is not a bad price because you get a solid metal spinner. This one's in copper, and this is probably the cheapest out of the line of 3 variations. But you get a full set that consists of a carrying pouch, a metal tin with foam inserts, nice cutouts as well, an extra bearing, a different bearing in fact, a bearing removal tool, and a little ball chain that you could hook on here if you wanted to. So that's honestly not bad for 30 USD. However, some of you might find it a little bit too big. It's not a typical tri-spinner design. It's a kind of an asymmetrical design, but it might feel good only to flick on one side or one direction. Really depends on how you want to flick it. But this would be a solid contender for anyone who's looking to try out a tri-spinner design. I honestly think it's not bad. Some discomfort here and there because of the way you're going to hold it to flick it. So it's more of just getting used to. And while it is fun fidgeting with this guy, it might not be fun if you're always going to get frustrated thinking about whether or not you're supposed to hold it this way or this way. All in all, for $30, this is definitely a solid spinner that you could consider. The design of it is very subjective, however. It doesn't really appeal to me, so it's not something that I would want to reach out and want to fidget with. But if it appeals to you, definitely consider getting one of these guys because this is a very well-made spinner, and as a fidget toy, it fidgets very well. If you're interested in getting yourself one of these eagle eye spinners by Alquar, of course, check out the links in the video description below. And if you're looking for the other variants of the eagle eye spinner, make sure that you're getting it straight from Alquar. You can tell by the seller name in the Amazon listing. Now that's because they're actually hit by clones as well. I don't even understand why anyone want to clone a design like this. This is just based off a generic tri-spinner design, so that really completely boggles me. But once again guys, make sure you get it from Alquar directly. Thank you so much once again to the Alquar team for sending me one of these for review, and thank you guys once again for sticking all the way throughout and watching this review. I hope that I provided you guys with the information you need to make a better informed decision on whether or not the eagle eye spinner is for you. So that's it. Stay tuned for the next slice of my life and I will catch you guys there. Bye! It's called the eagle eye, so when I actually looked at this, I guess you could see a resemblance. I don't know, but yeah.